There's a story where God said to Moshe, I'm dumping the people. I've had it with them. They made a golden calf. That's it. I'm finished with them. What did Moshe say? Forgive them or
kill me too.
Either forgive
erase me
or dump me too. Was God pleased with that answer?
Yes.
Very much. So from this we learn that if God says dump your husband, you should say, okay, but I'm going with him.
This is just absolutely amazing for me, and it applies to a lot of things that are going on in my life right now, so I really appreciate it. My question is this: nowadays, a lot of choices that you have to make and a lot of conflicts among people are not so clear-cut about right or wrong or good or evil. It's the matter of personal preferences that people have. How do you deal with those situations where I just have a preference and my husband has a different preference? I prefer to live in a house and my husband prefers to live in a condo. How do you resolve something like that?
Live in a condo. Oh, I can't decide. First of all, if you make it clear to your husband that you want to live in the house, if you make it clear to your husband, you don't have to live in a house. No, it's not a life and death decision. It's just you would feel comfortable and you would feel better in a house. That already takes away some of the argument. If you say we have to live in a house, and he says we have to live in a condo, okay, you're both wrong. You don't have to. So like you're saying, there's a difference between a question that is either right or wrong or just a preference. But then it should be treated that way. Not like, oh, I can't live in a condo. No. I know, I can't live in a house. Yes, you can. You just would like the other better. So if it was treated that way, it might never have become an argument. If you really feel like it's not a life and death decision, and it's not right or wrong, good or bad, it's just a matter of taste. Don't you like to make dinner the way your husband, according to his taste? You always make dinner according to your taste?
The problem becomes after a series of, years of feeling you're making compromises and you're not living your life as you like to live because of all the compromises, it becomes resentment.
It certainly can. But why do you make compromises?
To make my husband happy.
You can be happy. See, there's where it becomes, I've made a compromise so that my wife will be happy, but she's not happy. Now I'm upset.
Uh-huh.
I did it to make you happy, but you're not happy. If you were happy, I would be happy too. Because then it's not a compromise. If I compromise and it makes you happy, it's not a compromise anymore. It's success. I wanted to make you happy and I made you happy. I didn't compromise anything. I got what I wanted. But if I compromise and you're not happy, hey, you're not playing fair. I'm trying to make you happy and you refuse, then something's wrong. Then I get resentful. But anything you do that actually makes your husband happy, that's never a compromise. That's your biggest success.
Well, he's happy, but I'm not.
You see, if you're making the compromise in order for him to be happy, then you will be happy. You won't even feel like a compromise. It'll feel like success. you feel compromised, not that you made a compromise. But that's only if he doesn't respond. If he doesn't respond, you feel tricked. Particularly when actually the husband says, if you do this, I'll be so happy. And you do it, and he's not happy. He's a liar. Now you feel
but what if I wanted to live in a house, but I end up living in a condo all my life? And but I feel it, yes, with a happy husband,
then you,
because that's exactly what he wants.
yes.
But it's not the experience of what I want from life.
Yeah. But you want him to be happy more than you want the house.
Do I really?
Oh, yeah, there's the question. Wow, that was honest.
I have to think about that.
It's starting to feel like a necessity. And that's how it comes across usually. I must live in a house. Naturally, your husband will say, you must? No, you mustn't. You're exaggerating. And then you get into a fight. I got to end with this little story. There was a group of 8 women in a community. All 8 of them, I don't remember how it happened, all 8 became observant in a very short time. They got inspired by something. They all became observant. Their husbands were not happy. So they were all arguing with their husbands. So they asked me to come and help them with this problem. So I'm sitting with the women, 8 women. I said, tell me exactly, what is the problem? Husbands don't want to be religious. I don't want to be religious either. What's the problem? They said, we want to make the kitchen kosher, and they don't want. I said, so you're going to get divorced because you want a set of dishes and he won't buy you a set of dishes? I don't believe that. What does it take to make the kitchen kosher? A new set of dishes. And that's it? You're going to get divorced over dishes? I don't think so. Tell me what the real problem is. You came home and told your husband that you're never going to go shopping on Shabbos again. And your husband's upset? I don't think so. What is the problem? Anyway, they didn't know what to say. I said, from a man's perspective, let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is you came home one day all excited. You were so inspired. You were so happy. And he thought it was because of him. And it turns out, no, you're inspired to become religious. Okay, he feels really bad about that. No, that's not really the problem. The real problem is you didn't come home and say, I would like to buy another set of dishes. You came home and said, we have to get new dishes. Your husband said, we don't have to. No, we have to. He said, no, we don't have to. It's my house. I can spend the money any way. Don't tell me I have to. He said, but you do have to. Okay, there's your problem. If you simply come home and say, we've had these dishes for years. Let's get a new set and let's keep it kosher. I don't think you'd get divorced over a set of dishes. That's the problem. You said we have to. You can't tell him what he has to. It's his house. Actually, that's not even the problem. Let me tell you what the real problem is. The real problem is you came home and said, we have to change the kitchen. And we have to start observing Shabbos. And you have to get your own bed. Because from now on, we are observant. Now, he heard we have to get new dishes. Okay. We have to start observing Shabbos. Yeah, all right, fine. Oh, Friday night. Well, yeah, fine. Okay. I have to get my own bed. Hey. This is getting too serious here. But the real problem is, okay, so now God said, that's why I have to throw out my dishes. God said, so I can't go shopping on Shabbos. God said, so I need my own bed. What if God tells you to throw me out altogether? There's the problem. All of a sudden, God is the authority in your life. If he tells you to dump me, I'm out. Without a bed. With no bed. That's the scary thing. I would be upset. So I said to them, just to make the point clear, I said to them, if God told you to dump your husband, what would you do? So it was quiet. Nobody said anything. I said, I won't tell your husband, just between us. Tell me, what would you do if God told you to dump your husband? It's quiet. Finally, one of them said, oh, God would never say that. God is not predictable. He works in mysterious ways. Don't say he'll never. If he tells you to dump your husband, what would you do? And they just sat there. I said, what are you thinking? If I was your husband right now, I would be very upset. What are you thinking? You mean you might actually do it? And you want me to be excited about the new dishes? It may not even be my house anymore. See, now there's a problem. So what would you do if God told you to dump your husband?
Is that a question?
You know, this very stingy guy was being mugged. And the guy said, your money or your life? Your money or your life? I'm asking you, your money or your life? He said, I'm thinking. It's a hard decision. Well, give me some time. So what do? If we want to know what God wants, we look into the Torah to see a precedent, right? So God tells you to dump your husband. You look into the Torah to see what direction the Torah would give you. So you remember the story where God told Avraham to sacrifice his son. What did Avraham do? He didn't argue. He got up early in the morning and went to do what God told him to do. So if God tells you to dump your husband, you should not argue. You should not plead. You should wake up early in the morning and dump him. Actually, Avraham did it with joy. So we should learn from that if God tells you to dump your husband, you should get up early in the morning, dump your husband with joy. Don't tell your husband this. But you see, no, that doesn't work. There's a story where God said to Moshe, I'm dumping the people. I've had it with them. They made a golden calf. That's it. I'm finished with them. What did Moshe say? Forgive them or
kill me too.
Blot my name from Torah.
Either
Erase me.
Or dump me too. Was God pleased with that answer? Yes. Very much. So from this we learn that if God says dump your husband, you should say, okay, but I'm going with him. So which of the two stories should we follow? The second one. Because in the first case, God didn't tell Avraham to dump his son. He told him to bring him up as a sacrifice. That's the opposite of dumping. But when God said, I've had it with the people, he was saying, dump them. And Moshe said, oh, no. If they get dumped, I get dumped. So if God tells you to dump your husband, then he might. Stranger things have happened. But your husband has to know that if God tells you to dump him, you're going with him.